this is like my second strike that's legitimate. So I'm expecting you to pull through for it.
No, we're all going to pull through together.
Mr. Fain, it is fabulous to meet you. You are a great individual. Thank you so much for representing us.
No, you guys motivate me.
It's great to meet you. Thank you.
Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. We are here at the picket line for GM in Lansing, Michigan, here with UAW President Shawn Fain. Talk about this week in particular. We thought things were moving along with Ford, but obviously not far enough. Stellantis at the last minute, were there plans to go on strike against other Stellantis plants, but at the last minute they sweetened the pot?
Yeah, we made some progress last week, and it's been slow this week. I mean, things kind of hit the brakes, with Ford, but it's not that we can't keep moving. It's just, we worked late last night. We were in there till almost midnight trying to get some movement and just didn't get where we need to be. And, we were meeting with all three companies throughout the night and constant communication. And, right before we went live this morning, Stellantis, sent a communication saying that they were going to grant us some of the things we'd asked for. So we took back that moving on them, and since we've been very upfront and very honest with what we expect, and when expectations are met, we keep our word on that, and we want to keep building on it now.
So, last time we talked, you talked about some folks you might want to beat the shit out of. I wanted to bring up Jim Farley, the Ford CEO, not trying to get you in trouble. He gave a little press conference where he said you're holding, negotiations hostage over electric battery plants that don't exist yet.
We believe the UAW is holding up the deal over battery plants that won't come online for another 2 to 3 years. But so far, the UAW is holding the deal hostage over battery plants. Keep in mind, these battery plants don't exist yet. They're mostly joint ventures. They've not been organized by the UAW yet because the workers haven't been hired and won't be for many years to come.
He said 97% of Ford employees are full-time. He said this deal that they've already offered would make auto workers, UAW, the wealthiest auto workers in the world.
The deal we offered would put our UAW workers among the best paid hourly manufacturing jobs in the world and in the top 30% of all full-time workers in America, of any industry, hourly and salary.
Your thoughts, because he was really asking for a violin.
Well, we wouldn't be the wealthiest auto workers in the world. You can look at Germany and other places where they have a lot higher salaries, a lot better conditions than we have. And we have big expectations now. I mean, our members bore the brunt of all the sacrifices that were made in the Great Recession. We were unfairly blamed for everything that was wrong with these companies. Nobody talked about the bad decisions they made. And, it's a sad, twisted irony when a person like Farley wants to talk about what we do and don't deserve when the man's making $20-some million a year and keeps bumping his pay up. He gets a 40% pay increase and tries to justify that, and it's on the backs of these people that he's getting it. None of us got a 40% pay increase. We got 6% in the last 4 years when he got 40, and inflation went up 20%. We went backwards. Our purchasing power is not even what it was 4 years ago. And a decade ago, it's even worse. His keeps going up. I mean, so it does. We're who moves the economy. These people are who move the economy, not the CEOs. When a CEO gets another $10 million, they buy another house or another yacht. When we get money in our pockets, we move the economy. We purchase stuff in the community. We make the economy move. That's what matters, and that's what we got to get back to in this country, is taking care of workers first and worrying about the bigwigs last.
I'm not great at math, but he also said that the company is not super profitable right now.
Ford profits margins are thin and not at record levels. But we should all want strong profits because they would lead to record profit sharing and record investments in the future, in innovation and growth, and especially jobs.
They made $24 billion last year in profits.
I believe in the first 6 months of this year they reported almost $7 billion in earnings. So I don't know what they call profitable, but I call that pretty damn profitable.
Right. Can you kind of talk about? I'm talking to workers out here. A lot of them only get like one Saturday off a month. If they're lucky, they kind of get time with their spouse, couple weekend days a month. Talk about work-life balance. Are they offering any improvements, any of the companies?
Not really much movement at all on work-life balance. None of the companies seem to have much interest there. And that's a shame because, it's one thing to work 7 days by choice, you want some extra money in your pocket, or, whatever the reason is. It's another to be forced 2 out of 3 Saturdays. It's another to be on critical status. And it's another to have to work 7 days a week just to survive. I mean, so many people have to work 7 days because their pay is so low and their benefits are non-existent that they have to work 7 days a week just to scrape to get by. And not just in the UAW, in every sector. How many people I know that work multiple jobs. We have really sad reality to me. One of the saddest things in my experience as president so far was I had one of our members out in Wentzville, Missouri send an email one time saying that he makes $17 an hour as a GM worker in Wentzville, Missouri. And he was asking if it was okay for him to belong to 2 locals because he was going to get a job at a Lear seating factory so he could survive. I mean, that's how far we have regressed in this country. And that's what's got to change.
And obviously the president was here this week. First time any president has come to the picket line. Didn't say much. You don't have to get into private conversations, but did you get an impression that beyond just, being here and the optics of that, that he or any politician is going to go further, pushing the PRO Act, stop giving loans to these companies with no strings attached?
Yeah, we had good conversation, and I'm not going to underscore or underplay the fact that a sitting president visited a picket line. That is a historic moment in this country. It's never happened. So, we have a lot of work to do still, though. I mean, naturally, we've been very much in communication with the White House, with congressional leaders and everyone about this transition to EV and battery work particularly, and how we're being left behind and the workers are being left behind, and it can't be erased to the bottom when our tax dollars are funding that move. I mean, they can't take billions of our tax dollars and the companies take all the money like always and walk away with it, and there's no obligation to the workers. We're being left out of that equation. We're being left behind. And you look at the Altium situation in Lordstown where they're paying poverty wages still, that doesn't work for us. So it's got to change. So people talk about endorsements. We'll make endorsements when people earn it. They're not going to be freely given, and no one's earned that yet, and when they earn it, we'll let them know. But at this point, there's a lot of work to be done still.
And the strategy right now, obviously you see, some people say, to hell with it, let's go, all plants, all at once. This is 2 big plants. Tell me about, obviously you want to be unpredictable, but you're 2 weeks in. Yeah. Are we getting to a point where you might be looking at a lot more plants, if not all of them?
Yeah, we're just assessing, we're assessing things as we progress. I mean, look, the ultimate objective here is to get the best agreement we can get for our workers, for our members. That's what it's all about. I've been in their shoes. I've been as a local leader in their shoes, and I've been in a national leader's shoes, and I've watched how national bargaining's worked in the past. I didn't like how they would focus on one company and the other 2 would sit back and wait and be left behind, and they drag it out. That's why we tried to do things differently this time. We told the companies up front we expected the deadline to be the 14th, everyone to bargain and get it done. It's a shame the companies didn't take it serious. They have to own this. They're the reason we're all sitting out here right now. None of us want to be out here right now, but they've put us in this position because of choices they made. Every day as we bargain, we're assessing where we are, what's moving, what's not moving, and what next moves may be. And it just really depends on how things progress or don't progress as to how much we may amp it up or not. Our ultimate obligation is to the membership. They're my boss. I work for them. And I know our members are, some are frustrated, but I'll tell you one thing I know about our membership. They're fed up and they're energized. I've never seen our union in my 29 years ever be this together and this ready to fight for what the hell we deserve. And, I'm proud to see that.
And why do you think Stellantis suddenly saw Jesus, 5 minutes before your broadcast? Because they've been pretty obstinate. They were certainly hurting from that Jeep plant not being up and running in Toledo. What are they offering in terms of COLA improvements and other things?
Well, our push from the beginning was to get the COLA back that we lost, get back to that formula. And there was a couple other things like the right to strike, over plant closings, the right to not have to cross picket lines, a couple other issues. And, we gave them those issues and said, if you meet these, we'll not take action. And, they waited till the last minute, but we were meeting all night and called a few minutes before we went live and said they would do it. And it's good, it's progress, and that's what we're looking for. And, we get one block out of the way and we keep moving on the others, and hopefully we get an agreement. We can get there. We can get there soon. But the companies have to buckle down and get busy with us, and we can get it done. So,
last question: what do you want to see? I know you've invited non-auto workers to the picket lines in solidarity. You've always said this is bigger than just the auto industry. What do you want to see from just Americans? You got 70-75% supporting you in polls. How can they support your efforts? Because it's 2 weeks in, but as it goes, it's tough to survive off 500 hours a week. What do you need from local communities?
That's the beautiful thing about when we do have to take action. I mean, communities get behind us, and businesses bring food. We've had people send letters to the Solidarity House and write a check, just to donate to the cause and stuff. So, it's a shared sacrifice for all of us. What our members are doing right now, the sacrifices they're making, they're not just making it for themselves and their families and their future generations. They're making it for the entire working class, because as we do better, as our conditions get better, it gets better for a lot of other people. And I saw it with my grandparents' generation. They were destitute. They came from a Great Depression. They got jobs with the big three, and it changed their lives, and not just theirs. The entire economy moved with it, and that's what we're trying to do now, is get this economy back to where it works for the working class people, and that's what will make this country great. That's what will make this country thrive, and that's what will make this economy boom, is when we have money in our pockets and we can make it move. When the CEOs get more money, it does nothing but benefit themselves, and everybody else falls further behind. So it's got to stop.
The negotiating committees are working hard, and the vice presidents and all the leadership, and trying to get good agreements for the membership, and they're what it's all about. They're why we're here. I work for them. These are my boss right here, and this is all about them. It's all about a future, not just for our workers, but for future generations, and that's what we're fighting for.
GM leadership had said extending this strike is just for the headlines. What do you have to say about that?
We're not out here to grab headlines. This isn't fun to us. We're not out here just for the heck of it. We're out here because GM and the three companies screwed around for over 7 weeks and didn't get into bargaining with us, which we told them from the outset. We expected to bargain right up front from day one in the middle of July when we started. They didn't do much of anything for 7 weeks. They waited till a week before the deadline, then they decided they wanted to bargain. And we're here because they made that choice. And so, we're going to be out here as long as we have to be. We don't want to be out here. We want to be in the plant working, making our product, and taking care of our workers. But if you look at where these corporations have been, the insane profits they've made in the last decade, and our workers continue to go backwards. We continue to fall far behind. You got temps out here that are scraping to get by and survive. You got in-progression workers, same thing. It takes them 8 years to get the full pay. Meanwhile, the CEOs are getting 40% pay raises in the last 4 years. The price of cars are going up. Half our members can't even afford to buy what we build. It's got to change, and it's up to us to turn this around.
What's the holdup with Ford? The CEO is saying that the union is holding the deal hostage over the new EVs. Talk about your response to that.
It's just not true, and it's sad to say things like that. We're not holding anybody hostage. We want to get agreements. We have been there every day, 24/7, since the middle of July. We have been there every day. It's ironic that some of these CEOs make these statements, and literally the CEO of Ford has probably been in 3 meetings over this whole course of the 9 or 10 weeks. So, it's all, that's for show in my opinion. We've been there and we're still there, ready to get an agreement.
Minus the EVs, how close are you with everything else, pay benefits with the Ford agreement?
Well, there's a lot we have to work on. Retirement security for our people. The majority of our members now have no retirement security, and that's a major issue. We're still not there on a lot of issues. So job security is a huge part of that. We're at product allocation and the future of work, the transition. Right now, we don't have any piece of that. So we have to do better.
What's it going to take to reach a deal with the big three?
It's just going to take, really, it's a matter of, it's the process of bargaining. There's a lot of issues on the table we're trying to resolve. Ending tiers is a huge one. All the different workers we have that, are doing the same job on the line for different rates of pay. There's no excuse for that. Not in the union, and not anywhere in our work structure, anywhere. That's one issue. Retirement security, like I said, job security. These companies have closed 65 plants. The big three have closed 65 plants in the last 20 years. Most of those plants were closed during record profits. So that's the sad reality. The last decade, they've made $250 billion in profits, and we went backwards. So again, we're fighting for a better future, not just for ourselves, but for the entire working class. When we negotiate good contracts, everybody else comes up with us, and that's what this is all about. We can't continue to go backwards because everybody else is going backwards as we are.
What is the impasse on EVs right now with Ford?
It's not an impasse. There's no impasse. I mean, we're just, it's part of the bargaining process. We've had good discussions. There's times we think we're getting somewhere, and then things just stop. So, and it's not just Ford, it's all the big three. And you can pick an issue. It's just the same in many issues. We're making headway on some issues, and we have, but, we're nowhere near where we need to be, and that's the problem. And we've got to get there, and we've got a lot of work ahead of us. So.
We're here with GM workers today. What specifically is holding their contract back?
We've made some headway at GM, like I said, with COLA and some of the stuff with the CCA workers and the GMCH workers, but again, I go back to the same issues, retirement security and trying to work something out there, and job security. We have concerns with job security. The companies will tell you one story about how they feel about the future of jobs, and they'll tell you they feel it's secure, but when we run numbers, we don't see that. And especially in this transition to EV, it's really hard to envision a future for us when we have no piece of the battery right now. So that's and at the end of the day, however that ends up, it needs to be under our standards. It cannot be a race to the bottom, and that's unfortunately what these companies are trying to do. They're driving a race to the bottom, and they want this transition to pay poverty wages, as they are doing in Lordstown right now, and that has to change. I mean, look at how Lordstown looked before. There's former Lordstown workers here right now. They had to travel and leave their homes where they've been their whole life to come here. And it was replaced by a battery plant that paid $16.50 an hour. I mean, that's not a just transition in anybody's book. And our tax dollars are financing that transition. There's no excuse if taxpayers are funding this transition that these should be poverty jobs.
Shawn, it looks like the status of the unfair labor practice against GM and Stellantis is closed. Can you comment on the status of those and what's changed?
I'm not positive on the status of it yet. I mean, we had to do something because we've been sitting at the bargaining table for roughly 7 weeks, and we're getting no movement. So we had to take action to try to get them moving. So we'll see how things progress.
It looks like they were withdrawn. You're saying they weren't withdrawn?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to our legal team on that. I don't know. Maybe they were. If that's the case, I don't know. I mean, we've been bargaining. That's what we've been doing. So that's been the focus of my job. So yeah, thank you.
If you took the EVs out of the equation with Ford, like everything else, is that looking pretty good as far as the deal with them?
No, we still have a ways to go. I mean, we're getting close, but I mean, 70% of our members at Stellantis, around 60 at Ford, and over almost 60 at GM are in progression employees that hired in after 2007. They don't have any post-retirement health care, no retirement security. So that is a major issue for us. And understand this, there's a lot of issues we're trying to deal with here because we made all the sacrifice in the recession. We were unfairly blamed for everything that was wrong with the big three during the economic recession. It wasn't because of our contracts. It wasn't because of our workers. We were unfairly blamed for everything. No one ever talks about the mismanagement of these companies and then the bad decisions they made. But the sad reality is we bore the brunt of that. We made all the sacrifice. And after a decade of massive profits that was done on the backs of our workers, we're still waiting for our fair share, and this takes time. So there are a lot of issues we got to fix.